Out here, nature reclaims everything. But buried beneath the moss, rust, and silence lie machines built for war, exploration, and survival, now forgotten. What were they? Who left them behind? And why do some of the rarest off-road legends now rot in the wild? Today, we uncover the chilling stories behind 10 abandoned off-road vehicles and what really happened to them. Chapter 1. The Soviet Monster, ZIL-157. Massive, loud, and unstoppable, at least in its prime. The ZIL-157 was the USSR's off-road beast, a 6x6 juggernaut designed to carry troops, fuel, and even artillery across the Soviet Empire's harshest terrains. Frozen rivers, mud pits, bombed-out roads. The ZIL didn't care. It just kept going. Its rounded fenders and exposed axles made it instantly recognizable on Cold War front lines. But when the Soviet Union fell, so did its machines. Hundreds were left behind in Ukraine, Poland, Georgia, rusting under trees, buried by snow, or half-sunk in bogs. Today, adventurers and urban explorers still stumble upon ZIL-157s in the wild. Their frames twisted, their tires rotted, but their steel hearts still intact. Once a symbol of Soviet might, now a ghost of a fallen empire. Chapter 2. The American Gladiator, AMC M715. U.S. military thought they had a winner. The AMC M715, built during the Vietnam War, was supposed to be a modernized, tougher Jeep, but soldiers had other names for it. 5-quarter-ton fail. It was too heavy, too fragile. Its Dana axles snapped. Its waterproofing failed in monsoon jungles. And it had zero armor. It looked tough. But in combat, looks weren't enough. Many were abandoned in Vietnam, left for scrap, or stripped by local militias. Back in the States, others were dumped in military auctions, bought for pennies, or left to rot in fields and barns. Today, a few are being restored by collectors, but most remain as they were, sun-bleached skeletons of an idea that never delivered. Chapter 3. The Desert Camel, Toyota Land Cruiser FJ45 Troopy. The FJ45 Troopy is a legend in deserts around the world. This long-wheelbase Toyota Land Cruiser carried missionaries, mercenaries, rebels, and rangers across Africa, the Middle East, and the Australian outback. With a straight-six engine and bulletproof suspension, it became a favorite for UN convoys, safari guides, and military patrols. But many never made it back. Some broke down in the Sahara, buried by shifting dunes. Others were caught in gunfire, with bullet holes still visible in their rusting doors. Some were parked after one last brutal expedition, too broken to fix, too loyal to discard. They sit now under sun and sand, half consumed by nature, not just abandoned, but surrendered to the desert. Chapter 4. The Jungle Phantom, Mitsubishi J53, built by Japan, inspired by the American Jeep. The Mitsubishi J53 was small, nimble, and built for the jungle. Mitsubishi, used by the Japanese self-defense forces and deployed in Southeast Asia, it became a quiet backbone of tropical operations. But after missions ended, many J53s were simply left behind. Now they're found half buried in vines, wrapped in tree roots, or swallowed by jungle terrain. Their frames rust quietly. Their dashboards fade in the sun. Children in rural villages play on their hoods. Chickens nest inside their wheel wells. They've gone from instruments of strategy to relics of nature's reclamation. Chapter 5. The Alpine Ghost, Hofflinger 700 AP. Tiny, underrated, unstoppable. The Haflinger 700 AP, built in Austria, looked like a cartoon. 2 seats, no roof, no doors. But this little beast had all-wheel drive, independent suspension, and a center of gravity so low it could crawl over rocks without tipping. Used by mountain troops, rescue teams, and border patrol units in the Alps, it navigated tight trails, cliffside routes, and snowdrifts with grace. But time wasn't kind. As missions modernized, parts for the Haflinger disappeared. Engines wore out, repairs became impossible. Now, many sit covered in snow, tucked in barn corners or rusting behind old ski lodges. They were never flashy, but to those who knew them, they were legends on 4 wheels. Chapter 6. The Forgotten Freight Train. Mercedes-Benz Unimog 404. The Unimog 404 didn't just go off-road. It laughed at off-road. With its portal axles, high ground clearance, and go-anywhere engineering, the 404 became a Cold War workhorse. Militaries, fire brigades, adventurers, all trusted the 404 to get there when no one else could. But as newer models arrived and diesel prices climbed, the 404 slowly vanished from fleets. Parts became scarce, engines seized from neglect. Many were left behind barns or pushed into tree lines, still upright, still looking like they could roar to life. And maybe some still can. Because the Unimog was never just a truck. It was Germany's answer to terrain practice. Chapter 7. The African Warlord's Ride. Land Rover Series 2A. Iconic, British, unshakable. The Land Rover Series 2A served on every continent, but in Africa, it became something more. It was used by colonial forces, missionaries, rebel commanders, and warlords alike. Simple to fix, rugged to the bone, built for heat, dust, and destruction. But time moved on. When governments collapsed and wars ended, many of these Series 2IAs were left behind. Too old to rebuild, too loyal to destroy, they now stand as monuments to chaos in jungles, deserts, and ghost towns. Sun-bleached, rusted, tires deflated, and somehow still standing. Chapter 8. The Mud King. Ford MUTT M151. After World War II, America needed a new Jeep. They got the MUTT M151, faster, more powerful, and fatally flawed. It rolled over too easily, in fact, that the military ordered most of them destroyed. But some slipped through the cracks. You'll find them in remote scrapyards, deep in muddy fields, or rusting under collapsed barns, bent frames, blown tires, half buried in swamp grass. They were light, agile, and dangerous. And now, they're forgotten ghosts, proof that even good intentions can be deadly. Chapter 9. The Aussie Legend. Holden Overlander 4x4. Australia's Holden Overlander was a 4x4 unicorn, based on a Holden ute or wagon, but fitted with full 4-wheel drive and heavy-duty suspension. It was built to tame the outback, haul through bush trails, and go toe-to-toe with land cruisers. But it came with a price, literally. It was too expensive, too niche. Only a few hundred were ever made. Oh, most were bought by farmers or off-road fanatics. Today, the survivors are found buried in red dust, inside crumbling sheds, or wrapped in tarps behind remote stations. Few remember them. But those who drove one swear it was the toughest 4x4 ever made down under. Chapter 10. The Lost Tank. Volvo C303. From snowy Sweden came one of the most capable off-road vehicles ever built, the Volvo C303. It looked like a shoebox, drove like a tank, and went places most 4x4s wouldn't dare. With portal axles, a locking differential, and military-grade durability, it served the Swedish military in some of the harshest Arctic conditions on Earth. But as decades passed, even the C303 started to fade, pipe pots vanished, repairs became rare. And now, many sit in pine forests, covered in moss, nearly invisible to hikers, blending into the land they once ruled. To the untrained eye, they're just rusted boxes. To those who know, they're the final survivors of a colder, tougher time. These weren't just machines, they were lifelines, weapons, dreams on wheels. And now, they're relics, abandoned, but not forgotten. Which one would you rescue, if you could? Like, share, and subscribe for more forgotten machines and lost legends.